consumer protection policies, standards, and regulations, including international negotiations. Awarded the Distinguished Alumni Award 2012 by BHU, award winner of World No Tobacco Day 2013 from WHO, recognized by NABARD as a rural innovator in improving accessibility to safe drinking water. Over to you, Professor Mishra.
Thank you very much, Shavesh. Very kind words. You introduced me. I feel very proud that I'm associated with a great initiative launched by Government of India, Department of Industrial Promotion and Internal Trade, DPIIT, along with Quality Council of India, with whom I am very actively engaged. I have the pleasure of being with very, very eminent speakers today. All of them you will see when I will introduce them, they are absolutely icons in their own field. I will start today's conversation with none other than a person whom I have been knowing very closely for many years, is Madam Asha Nangiaji. She is the Senior Director in the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology within the Government of India. Currently, she is working in the industrial promotion in the area of electronics and hardware manufacturing division. She is a qualified engineer, a graduate from the Electronics and Communication from the Delhi College of Engineering, and has an experience of more than 20 years, with the standardization, testing, and quality certification in the electronics and IT hardware area. Who else could be a better person than her to be with us today on behalf of the government? She is a qualified lead assessor for ISO 9000 and 17025 certification. She has been instrumental in developing the field of safety testing at STQC lab in Delhi. Asha ji is working towards the promotion of the hardware manufacturing electronics industry trade agreements, export promotion, and similar initiatives from the Government of India for the last 10 years. She is currently handling the initiative relating to mandatory compliance of electronics and IT goods to Indian safety industry under the compulsory registration order, which is the first ever technical regulation the electronics sector notified by the government to curb the substandard and unsafe goods in India in the interest of the consumers and safety of the consumers. So I am very happy and pleased to have her with us. I would like to now...
I request all the other participants to kindly mute their mics. Thank you. Please continue, sir.
Professor Mishra, you are on mute.
Professor Mishra, you have to unmute, sir.
Professor Mishra, you are on mute. Kindly unmute yourself.
Yeah, I have done it now. I don't know how...
You're audible, sir. Please continue.
Yeah, I hope I have been able to cover the introduction of Madam Nagia ji. Was it?
Yes, sir.
Could I cover her introduction?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So, having said this, there couldn't have been a better person than her to get the conversation going in setting the agenda and setting the context of today's, conversation of Udyog Manthan. I would now request Asha ji kindly take over the mic and give her presentation. Asha ji, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Professor Mishra. Thank you for this introduction. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this session of the Udyog Manthan on increasing the productivity and quality of set-top boxes. So the ESDM is the fastest growing sector in the world, and the government is promoting manufacturing in the country. And electronics manufacturing is a priority sector for the government. The government has launched various policies, schemes, and fiscal incentives to create a conducive environment for domestic electronics manufacturing to flourish. In the past 5 years, the electronics manufacturing has truly proved to be an important sector of Make in India. Even when the world was struggling with the pandemic of COVID-19, the government was working towards launching schemes for promoting the electronics industry. The electronics manufacturing is one of the pillars of Digital India program and aligns with Make in India, Skill India, and Startup India. The National Policy on Electronics 2019 was launched in February 2019 to position India as a global hub for electronic system design and manufacturing, and to create an enabling environment for the industry to compete globally. We don't want to produce only for India, but for the world also. By 2025, the electronics market in India is expected to grow up to $400 billion. The domestic production of electronics items has substantially increased from USD 29 billion in 2014-15 to 75.7 billion in 2019-20 at a compound annual growth rate of 23%. It may be noted that the ESDM sector currently accounts for 2.7% of India's GDP. If you see the set-top boxes, it is one of the major important electronic products that is being used across the household. There are 3 types of set-top boxes that are prevalent in the market. That is DTH set-top boxes, that are the conventional type of set-top boxes, the OTT set-top boxes, which are used for viewing internet content, and the hybrid set-top boxes, which are combination of the two. The demand of OTT set-top boxes is increasing in proportion to the access to the high-speed internet. The hybrid set-top boxes are also being imported by the DTH companies. India is the largest DTH market in the world by the number of the subscribers. If we see the data as of 31st December 2019, there were around 70 million active paid DTH subscribers in the countries. This does not include the subscribers for free DTH services, which are around 35 million homes. As per the estimates, there are still 100 million homes which do not have a television sets. As per the report, annually 25 million set-top boxes are sold in India, whereas the global demand for the set-top boxes is around 76 million units. As per the industry resources, the annual production capacity of set-top boxes in India is around 20 million units. However, we are only utilizing 1% of their total capacity in 2020. If we see, the whole demand is being met by the imports, and the major imports is being from the ASEAN countries and Thailand and Vietnam and Korea, all these. So if we see the Indian scenario, we have different types of manufacturers. One of those are those who are right from the design and R&D stage. The other ones are those who are only doing the EMS services. And the last category is only who are assembling the products in the country. The imports of the set-top boxes for both the types of set-top boxes, that is the set-top boxes for the TV and the set-top boxes for gaining access to the internet, was $512 million in 2017 and 18, and which has increased to $460 million in 2019-20. If we see the current scenario in financial year 2021, as of April to December, the total imports is around $170 million. Now, what are we supposed to do to protect our industry? So the tariffs and non-tariff measures are the major measures according to which we can protect our industry. The tariff structure has already been rationalized for the set-top boxes to promote manufacturing into the country for set-top boxes. As on date, the set-top boxes attract the BCT of 20%, whereas all the parts and components except for the populated printed circuit boards and the chargers or the power adapters are at zero duty. The populated printed circuit boards attract a BCT of 10%, whereas the chargers or the power adapters for set-top boxes attract a 20% BCT. The electronics industry is facing challenges in manufacturing and competing globally. The key challenges that we face are generally that we don't have a component ecosystem in the country. The second challenge we have a disability in India vis-a-vis the different economies like China, Vietnam, and Korea. And we have signed FTAs and ITA agreement also according to which many items are being imported at zero duty when the import happens from those countries. So as of now, the set-top boxes attract a BCD of 20%, but when they are imported from ASEAN countries, the set-top boxes are covered under the ASEAN agreement, so they are imported at zero duty. That's the major challenge that we are facing. Otherwise, also, the set-top boxes for gaining access to the internet are also covered under the IT agreement. So the industry face challenges while competing globally on the price concerns. Additionally, if we cover the non-tariff measures, the set-top boxes, both types of set-top boxes are covered under the electronics and IT goods order that we commonly known as compulsory registration order for compliance to the Indian safety standards. And most of the manufacturers have already taken registration for their set-top boxes. Keeping in view the huge indigenous requirement on account of the roadmap for digitization of the broadcast sector, MITI has taken steps to promote the indigenous manufacturing of set-top boxes of cable TVs. The development of Indian conditional access system is one of them. So we have followed the PPP model, and the technical specifications of the ICAS was freezed, and the contract was given to Indian manufacturing, and who that was Messrs. By Design India Private Limited, who in association with CDAC has successfully developed the ICAS. The development of ICAS has enabled India to enter a niche market dominated by the few global companies only. The ICAS is beneficial to domestic set-top box manufacturers and operators because it is cost effective. The price is only $0.5 for a per license for a period of 3 years, whereas the global license attracts a price value of $3 to $5 per license. The ICAS enabled set-top boxes have been deployed even in remote regions of the country. Over 18 lakh set-top boxes with ICAS have been deployed with more than 200 cable operators. Also, Doordarshan has also adopted ICAS for their free Dish TV platform, giving thrust to Make in India initiative. Presently, 31,000 CAS-enabled DD Fresh Dish TVs set-top boxes have been deployed. The ESDM sector holds a position of key importance in the government's goal of generating 1 trillion economy from the digital economy by 2025. In April 2020, the government has launched 3 major schemes to incentivize the domestic manufacturing. That was production-linked incentive schemes, scheme for promotion for manufacturing of electronic components and semiconductors, and modified electronics manufacturing clusters. So that the component ecosystems comes into India, the foreign manufacturers or the big giants who are manufacturing in the world, they come and invest in India and manufacture in India. And India finds its place in the global market. The objective is to promote domestic manufacturing in the entire value chain of ESDM, including the core components and the material, which will increase the domestic value addition and reduce dependence on the import of electronic goods by focusing on skill, technology, scale, and the global market. India has also emerged as the world's second largest startup ecosystem with over 50,000 startups. All the major global chip design companies have their R&D centers in India. India's technology talent is well recognized globally. The industry and the government are taking steps to promote manufacturing, but unless we have the quality, reliability, security, safety inbuilt in the product, we would not be able to access the global market. So we have to build excellence in our production so that not only the productivity, but the quality of the product also improves. And we not only cater to our domestic market, but to the global markets also. So the 2 main pillars of success of any industry are quality and productivity. And even all the big globally competitive countries and big economies have used this as pillars for those. And today also different countries are using them, this productivity and quality to promote their manufacturing. India also has to do the same, and they have to build the same pillars for bringing excellence in manufacturing. The key for India is to create awareness about the quality among the manufacturers across the supply chain. That is the raw material, intermediate, and finished products manufacturers. So we have to come up with the standards which are not only at par with the global standards, but if possible, over and above the global standards also, so that our products become the premium products for the global market. So this not only includes the safety standards, performance standards, but also the security standards and the TVC also, that the supply chain also is secure and our data is not leaked to the other countries. The first step in this connection will to formulate the standard, understand the challenges and opportunities that we have, not only India and across the globe also, and about what we need to do to improve our productivity and quality, and build a mass scale movement of awareness for quality and productivity. The aim of this Udyog Manthan is to draw in best practices and experiences of the sector and industry exports to identify challenges related to quality and productivity that are being faced by the Indian industry. And we have to find out ways to address them, to promote vocal for local, and ultimately we have to aim at Atmanirbhar Bharat. This is the best time to utilize to promote the Atmanirbhar Bharat. This whole Udyog Manthan will result in creating a compendium of quality-related sectoral recommendations that will aid industrial competitiveness, leading to a greater demand of Indian products and services, thereby leading to export promotion and import substitution. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Ashaji. It was very well put. You have not only spoken about our strengths, but you have also highlighted, the challenges which we need to overcome. And that is what we want to hear today from the experts who are with us this morning. And I'm sure many people are listening to us. My only request is that people who are other than the speakers, please do not put on your video and your mic, because that creates a bit of a disturbance to the viewers and the listeners. So this is my personal request to everybody. I would now go straight to one of our very important speaker today, who is from overseas and, who has taken time to come and share his experience. It is none other but Professor James Chen, who is professor in the Department of Industrial Engineering and Engineering Management at the National Tsinghua University, Taiwan. He is also adjunct professor of the Institute of Industrial Engineering at National Taiwan University, Taiwan. He has received a BSc in Industrial Engineering from Taiwan and also MSc in Manufacturing Systems Engineering and a PhD in Industrial Engineering, both from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, USA. Dr. Chen's current research interests include lean production, smart manufacturing, business process engineering, supply chain management, project management, and system stimulation. We would request him today to kindly stress on how IE engineering and productivity can be brought within the set-top box manufacturing capacity in India, how economics and efficiency improvement can play a role, and also what kind of a collaboration India can do with Taiwan in making India self-reliant in R&D and manufacturing of set-top boxes. Professor James, I would now request you to kindly take over and give your presentation to all the listeners of India and overseas. Please, Professor James, the mic is yours. Please unmute and speak.
Kindly unmute Professor James.
Okay. Hello, many thanks, Professor Mishra, and dear all, good morning. This is James Chen from Taiwan. Over the past 30 years, even I'm professor in university, I work very closely with the industry in Taiwan, China, Vietnam, and Indonesia. So I try to apply industrial engineering and lean manufacturing methodology and the concept to different industry sectors. Of course, one is the set-top box. In fact, the other industries include semiconductor supply chain. Taiwan is very good in this industry. For example, the IC design, wafer fabrication, wafer probe, packaging, and the final test for the IC. Another industry is special is the TFT LCD, the panel supply chain. That include the color filter, array cell module. Some other industry like the electronics, for example, notebook PC, projector, power supply. Also the traditional industry like the footwear and apparel. All right. So even the difference in these industries are significant. For example, semiconductor and the traditional or set-top box. But in fact, the similar methodology could be applied and with significant improvement in the productivity. So for lean production area, if we are sensitive enough, we could try to identify the 7 waste on the shop floor, right? So we identify the waste and the problem, try to use some idea to eliminate the waste. So the concept is simple, but the influence will be significant. So the productivity could be increased accordingly. Some other example is the application of the quick changeover. We work with the industry people to draw the value stream mapping to find the location with the high working process. So we reduce the WIP and the cycle time will be reduced significantly. Right? We try to use the fishbone diagram, Pareto diagram to identify the leading to the problem and identify the significant factors that could be solved to increase the productivity. Regarding the industrial engineering method, line balancing could be used to identify the imbalanced operator loading. So try to integrate some operations together. I think we could reduce the headcount and the cost saving will be there. Some other methodology include the ergonomics, the human factor. Try to make the operator working in a much better condition. Consider the gesture, consider the frequency of the multi-skill training is also important. And some advanced planning and the scheduling, considering the material readiness. This is especially important in set-top box because if we have many components to be assembled together, I think the material readiness need to be considered. Otherwise, the work in process level will be too much. So, in addition to the lean production and the industrial engineering, I think some automation equipment could be applied, such as the AGV. Try to save the indirect labor in the material handling. Robots, right? The warehouse with the lighting system, because we have so many components to pick up from the warehouse. So with the lighting system, we could save the time to search. Some other technology like the automatic optical inspection, robotic process automation are all there, right? So from the lean production, i.e. to automation, even to the smart manufacturing, we could increase the productivity step by step. And finally, some of the observation is that Taiwan is quite good in the manufacturing management. However, most Taiwanese companies have the overseas factories in China, Vietnam, Indonesia, but less in India. So maybe we could try to find some opportunity to have some collaboration between India and Taiwan, to set up more factories. Okay, thank you very much. That's my small sharing. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Professor. Thank you very much for your presentation. And I'm sure, we will keep in touch with each other, and we will keep learning from you in the coming years. So thank you for taking time and giving us your views. I would now call upon Mr. Rajiv Qatar. Mr. Rajiv Qatar is an industry expert. He has been associated with broadcast, cable, DTH, and satellite industry for 3 decades. Mr. Qatar has held senior positions such as president with ABS Global, a leading satellite provider in the region. He has been the president projects for Dish TV India Limited and has been a senior management position in organizations like City Cable Network Limited, Reliance Infocom, and many others. Mr. Qatar has been associated with BIS since 2002 and has been active in formulation of the standards for the digital set-top boxes for cable and DTH. We would like to know from him today the industry's perspective of set-top boxes manufacturing in India, including marketing, growth, and the size. Mr. Rajiv Qatar, the mic is yours. Please unmute and speak.
Dr. Mishra, and thanks to QCI for giving this opportunity. Like Mr. Nangia gave a perspective of the industry size. This industry today, which started in 2002 with deployment of DTH set-top boxes, has around 180 million active set-top boxes and has a growth rate of around 15% per annum. The growth will continue to be propelled by factors like there is an organic growth. You have got more and more TV households coming in. We have a TV penetration of today around 70% in the country. We will have the penetration increasing, and thus that will create more demand for the set-top boxes. There will be intermigration between the services, cable to DTH, DTH to cable, so that propels another growth factor for both the sectors. And then we are talking of set-top boxes which are going to be, as in our terms, we call them hybrid set-top boxes, which is set-top boxes with normal TV services, which can be cable or DTH, but having OTT or IP boxes into it. So there is a good growth in this sector, and as Madam said, this is approximately nearly $500 million to $1 billion industry, which we are looking at on an annual basis, and which is going to continue to grow for the next years. See, that we should understand that what is the ecosystem of development of set-top boxes and how they are looked at. See, there are 4 major players in the whole sector, I will say. One is the operator, which basically propels the demand of the set-top box. Or when I talk of operator, we are talking of service providers like MSOs, DTH service providers, OTT service providers. So they are the people who basically propel the demand today. Then we have got technology providers, which provide conditional accesses, middlewares, and for the boxes. Third element comes into is the design houses and the manufacturers. So there can be a design house who will be doing a design and then giving it to a manufacturer to do it, or there can be an end-to-end, which is he does the design and does the manufacturer also. And fifth, ultimately, the consumer, who's basically next is the consumer, who basically is the user of the box. The most important factor here is the operator, which basically is currently propelling the demand of the boxes in this market, and what he is looking at. If we understand that, we will be, I think industry will get a very good perspective that what is operator looking at and what we need to address it. See, basic requirement of the operator is that he wants a good box which can meet his service requirements, and he is having a trouble-free service to the consumer. We actually need to understand that currently, when a box goes to the consumer doesn't understand from where the box is coming from. Consumer understands the box is coming from this particular service provider, and if anything goes bad, the service provider gets a bad name. The may push it onto the box at on end is impacted. So he looks manufacture or a or both who can provide a box which is in quality, which a continuation company says that they can continue to support the box because it's not one-time sale. It's a sale, it's a marriage, it's a long-term relationship that once a box is deployed in the field, an average life of a box today is considered around 7 to 8 years. The box should be supported with continuous software upgrades, which comes from the design house or the manufacturer. And most important from a consumer point of view is that consumer should be able to get service of his box in case he needs at a very, very prompt manner and very easily. See, today, most of the service providers, which are the DTH operator or cable operator, they provide the replacement boxes. But still, after the warranty is over, then the consumer should be able to take a box, go somewhere and get it resolved immediately. See, we are talking, all are talking over here.
You have to summarize now.
Yeah, we are talking of TVs, and this is very, very important that the TV remains on in the house. So what are required for the industry today? The industry, basically, the standards are there. BIS makes the standards. It ensures that the standards are available to the industry on functional as well as on the electric and RF parameters. But the manufacturing industry, which is today hampered by a lot of imports from the ASEAN because of low duty, it's not only the low duty, it's the volume scale, the costings which these manufacturers have been able to do because they are able to do it on a much bigger scale. So industry needs to look at beyond Indian borders, at Latin America market, African market, Southeast market. It should be able to produce a good quality product. It should be able to serve the operator's need. And quality is the most important factor out here. One more important factor which we need to work out with the government is the credit facilities the international manufacturer or companies are able to give to the operators. See, in India, that's not a facility available as it is available to the manufacturers in the other countries because they have got a lot of export credit agencies giving them a backup for the credit benefits. So that is a very important factor we should all be looking at and talk to government for hand-holding the process. Another factor which we need, though government is definitely looking at very strongly, is the import from the FTA is the country of origin. A lot of efforts have been done in the last few months or a year, and we are sure it will be done. I understand government is looking at doing a PLI also for the set-top boxes. That will be a welcome scheme for the industry, which will help them to grow. One topic which has been much discussed and we need to all discuss in more detail is the interoperability of the boxes. Interoperability will open up the market for the consumers and the box manufacturers. Currently, the box manufacturers are dealing directly with the operators, but that will give an opportunity though. Yeah, just a minute, and I'm afraid. So these are few points which I wanted to bring to the highlight for the industry, and I think with the help of the government and with help of all the experts in the industry, we will be able to achieve. Thanks. That's all.
Thanks a lot, Rajiv Bhai. Thanks a lot. You have actually put in the right perspectives. We have to be globally competitive in order to export, and not only export, to keep the customer in India also happy, because the customer in India only knows the service provider, and that is where we have to improve a lot in terms of after sales service. I would now call upon Mr. Ravi Qatar, who is a senior business unit manager working at Jabali Circuit India Private Limited as a subsidiary of Jabal Incorporated based out of St. Petersburg, Florida, USA. He has been associated with Jabali since last 16 years more than 16 years in fact, and I've worked with high-end set-top box customers in USA. In the last 16 years, he has worked in various roles and capacities as a program management and in operations. At present, he has launched more than 35 new products for set-top box customers in the last 16 years and has a degree in electronic engineering from Anand, Gujarat, and a postgraduate in marketing and operations from ITM, Graghar, Navi, Bombay. So I would like that, we would all like to now listen from him that industrial requirement for quality and safety and the pressure on the cost, good surveillance mechanism on the quality of set-top boxes, and encouraging manufacturing of set-top boxes in India. I would request the speakers not to be repetitive. If earlier speakers would have touched your points which you want to touch on, please don't repeat it, but come in with new ideas for us. Thank you very much, Raviji, for taking time to come. The mic is yours. Unmute and speak.
Thank you, Professor Mishra. Good morning to everyone, and thanks for providing the opportunity to Quality Council of India and Government of India. So we all are focusing on quality and productivity to be built for improving the standards in set-top box in India. And the basic principle of quality, what we talk is we understand the 4M methodology, which is man, machine, material, and method. And what we all need to do in terms of our quality and productivity is to improve all these four sectors, which is man, machine, material, and the method, and obviously the environment, which will play the role. When I talk of each premises, I will also put what can be done in terms of the recommendations to the government of India, so that we can improve the quality and productivity standards of the set-top box manufacturing in India. Now, first, in terms of men, we have the Skill India mission, and the man, which is the operator, is the important piece in terms of improving the quality and productivity of the product that we build. We here at JBIL, we put the highest standards of we accept we product manufacture. So the standard and the benchmarks that we set in. So the skilling of the operator is most important here, and the recommendation for the government is to upgrade the current ITIs what we have, which is the industrial training institutes, because currently the industrial institutes are still on a large scale with mechanical and electrical industries, but there is no opportunity for ESDM sectors for ITI. So wherever we have an electronic clusters, the recommendation would be to set up an ITIs where there is the knowledge transfer happening for the ESDM industry, so that the more upskilling of the manpower can be done. And that upskilling of the manpower will only help to improve the quality standards of the product that we manufacture in India. The second one is on the machine. So each ESDM needs to implement the global standards and bring in global machines in terms of the NXTs or the AVIs or the DEC machines to manufacture these products, so that we get the world-class quality of the product. I mean, the DFM, which is called as design for manufacturing, plays a very important role here. The kind of product that you design it plays very, very much critical phase, so that we don't generate more waste in terms of creating rework. So, and that it can only be done if we have high standards of equipment in our factories, and that is where the improvement in the quality and the productivity of the set-top box will come. And we have witnessed this in the past 16 years, that the only way to improve the quality and productivity of the set-top box manufacturing is to invest in automation, invest in these high-end equipments in the initial phase, and obviously the returns of those with high yields and low returns and low complaints from the customer is there in few years of time. So the payback is huge. The third is on the material. So as Mr. Rajiv mentioned, that we need to have an ecosystem, a tech-based ecosystem need to be developed, where all the vertical integration needs to happen for the set-top box manufacturing. I see we are all talking of import of set-top boxes and the PCBs here, but the PCB, which is a heart of the set-top box manufacturing, the PCB manufacturers are very, very low in India. So that needs to be encouraged in India, so that the tech-based ecosystem gets developed and more research and development happens in generating the companies like we have the Chinese giants like Skyworks and Sagemcom and Technicolors. So we need to have the companies of that scale which can design and manufacture the PCB designs, so that the quality standards of manufacturing can improve in terms of the set-top boxes. And fourth, in terms of the material, so we have all the material or the vertical integrated suppliers for the set-top box, be it the corrugated manufacturer, be it the power supply manufacturer, all have to adopt the same quality standards. Each has to go through the same certification, be it UI, TUV, and the BSI, so that the products that we manufacture for the internal consumer usage as well as an export hub, that can become competitive in the market as well as outside market in the India. And the fifth point which I would like to mention is the environment, where as Ms. Anita mentioned that they are trying to make the environment more conducive, but the FTAs and the tariffs are not helping, because most of the OTT operators and most of the assemblers are bringing the set PCBAs from the market, which is not helping the ESDM manufacturing into India. So if we focus on all four quality parameters like man, machine, material, and method and environment, I believe the quality of manufacturing of set-top box will improve. And obviously the safety standards which everyone has to incorporate, which is like OSAS, which is a new certification level which comes into picture because of the safety. The OSAS certification has to be mandatory for all ESDM, so that the safety of the product becomes the utmost importance. So those are my inputs and those are my summary recommendations.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, Raviji. Thanks a lot. You have given certain very good guru mantras in terms of quality. You have outlined how quality can be achieved. You started from good human resources, standardized standard, which are harmonized with the global best standards. So I would now like to call upon none other but Mr. Kumar Narayan. Mr. Kumar is an electronics engineer with a total experience of 34 years and has worked with MNCs, OEMs, and EMS organizations to set up greenfield projects. I'm sure he will talk a lot about how technology can play a role in terms of making us Atmanirbhar, and he would work on how we should move forward in terms of production efficiency, in terms of bringing productivity and also quality. He has done his engineering from REC Calicut and one of India's premier engineering institute, and holds an MS in microelectronics from Manipal University. And he has closely worked with various organizations on design and other related manufacturing activities. And we would like him to touch on artificial intelligence, how that can play a role in the set-top box manufacturing in India. And also we would like him to briefly talk about smart factories, industries, 4.0, and lean manufacturing in production to be brought into India in a big way. So Mr. Kumar Narayan, we are very happy to have you with us. Please unmute and share your knowledge with all the listeners today.
Professor Lisra, thank you so very much for the kind introduction. Madam Asha, Professor Mishra, distinguished panelists, good morning and warm greetings from Velankani Electronics and By Design. And I would like to thank Madam Asha for the kind reference to the work done by Design from the ICAS implementation point of view, where Velankani and By Design has played a major role in the set-top box industry. Now, to very quickly highlight on what Velankani is all about, it is a major ODM and OEM with high volume and high manufacturing facility, which is located in Bangalore. I would like to use this forum to basically discuss on productivity, quality, and emerging new techniques in the manufacturing sector in set-top box for us to be globally competitive. Now, India has such been always well recognized globally in the software domain. We have made a world presence and been serving a lot of customers globally in the software. From a manufacturing perspective, I personally believe that India has done well, but we can do better to be globally competitive. Today, the set-top boxes are getting increasingly miniaturized and also becoming smart from the technology perspective, which our other panelists have already spoken upon. Now, in our opinion, to be globally competitive, industry best practices have to be adopted. And factories have to get smart as well, not just keeping the product smart, but factories have to also be getting smarter as well. Now, how do we get smart is first by adoption to the industry standard compliance 4.0. Now, what industry standard of compliance 4.0 would give us is a competitive edge in manufacturing by incorporating artificial intelligence, automation in the manufacturing process to minimize the human dependency, whereby which the errors which can crop up during the manufacturing can be brought down to very low levels so that we can produce very high quality products coming out from the factory. Machine learning with advanced neural network and techniques and advanced algorithms have helped in bringing the machine-to-machine interface, which has helped the manufacturing technologies to be brought to a level by which they all communicate with each other very efficiently. So that is how we get about in terms of advanced equipments which help us in implementing these techniques during the manufacturing. Efficient line balancing, which already has been covered during some of our topics in the seminar by some of our panelists in terms of improving the production and the productivity. Optimization of processes, which is very key and essential to eliminate waste and to cut down on the non-value added time during the manufacturing process, extremely key for manufacturing. And lastly, the deployment of lean tools such as TPM, TQM, FIS, lean during the manufacturing process becomes very, very critical. Now, these words may sound very complex and very difficult to imagine during the manufacturing process, such as big data, artificial intelligence deployment. But on reality, on the ground scale, these are today become absolutely mandatory for us to inculcate during the manufacturing, because they are absolutely very simple processes whereby which machines today are actually communicating to each other in terms of the technologies which are deployed upstream and downstream for setting up the process and auto-correcting the processes by itself. Which means earlier when we were having manufacturing process, which were totally dependent upon users to intervene and to take decisions during the manufacturing, today the technologies by incorporation of these techniques has helped us so that the machines are today talking to each other, communicating to each other all the time, and helping in the decision-making process whereby which the defects are getting eliminated, and we are able to achieve what is called as typically a zero defect quality during the production process. Techniques like this would have sounded pretty impossible a while back, but today, due to advancements in the manufacturing equipments and the technologies, it has been possible for us at Velankani to integrate these processes into our manufacturing mainstream. So that is something which I wanted to cover on the manufacturing in terms of the equipments, on the artificial intelligence and the techniques which will be helpful for us.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Kumar.
Thank Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much. It's absolutely in a very simple language. You have explained how quality needs to be inculcated as an habit within us. It cannot be thrusted on people that you need to adhere to certain processes and standards. It has to become a habit within us, and that is very well put forward. You also know how our Honorable Prime Minister has been promoting this under the Z initiative. He was the one who talked about zero defect and zero effect. I mean, the Prime Minister is giving the leadership right from the front to ensure that we learn from each other that we should be able to bring out products which are zero defect, and gives the best value to the consumers. So having said that, thank you very much, Mr. Kumar, for taking the time to come. I would now call upon Mr. Amit Kharbanda. He leads MyBox Technologies as MD and CEO. He brings with him an extensive experience in the Indian electronics and broadcasting industry. He has an engineering degree in mechanical science and an MBA from MDI Gurgaon. He started MyBox in the year 2008 with some industry experts. MyBox Technologies is a government-approved R&D house, which is a fully Make in India initiative. Today, MyBox Technologies is a hero electronics venture, which is a part of the prestigious business house, the Hero Group. So we are very proud to have you, sir, and we would like to hear from you now your journey of 12 years of MyBox Technology, why there is a delay in development for a set-top box R&D company for over 12 years. What has been the impediments in your journey? And please share with us the challenges and the roadblocks without any hesitation. Please speak up and tell us so that we can bring in good policies and practices in India. Mr. Amit Kharbanda, please unmute and speak.
Thank you, Professor Mishra. And good morning, everyone. And nice to see you all in panel. Asha ma'am. I think this is right now the best time for the revival of the industry. We've worked very hard. To summarize, I started in MyBox in 2008, but I've been a part of the journey of the digitalization since 2004, when set-top boxes started to be introduced, where I had to tell people that what I do is a set-top box and what that product is. You have to understand the evolution of the product. I think Khattaji has explained how various products are there and how they've evolved. All our previous panelists have explained various parameters. What is very important, more double or triple the memory with higher specs, we're selling at $12. So the world's changed. The quality is now at that price is becoming even more critical to differentiate and filter the brands who's a better quality. And I would request after this, I have a friend of mine also who's doing the similar business to speak more on the quality of the product itself. But what I see, sir, is that I'll just summarize is that productivity is no longer going to be a bigger factor, because I think the EMSs have improved drastically in the last few years thanks to the mobile upsurge in the electronics space. The government has been putting a lot of initiative. I think it's now time for Indian manufacturers to step up, deliver that quality. And there are few parameters where we need government support, mainly on R&D funds, because most companies in India are very small and they need that hand-holding to reach to that space. The same has been done in Korea by Korean companies, in China by Chinese companies. And that's something which we are continuously requesting government to look and support Indian R&D to enable be competitive enough. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Amit. Thanks a lot for bringing in the perspective in terms of where and how we should gear up. Of course, you have raised a lot of issues in terms of what the service provider or the operators would have to decide. And I'm waiting for them to also speak, because all over the world, the studies have always revealed that the consumers are willing to pay a price if the quality is assured. So that is what is very, very important. How do you assure the quality and be competitive at the same time? I would like to now call upon Joy Thomas Kokut. Joy is presently founder and managing director of Exa Info Systems Private Limited. EXA is a product company with focus on set-top box and various VS solutions. All products and solutions of Extra are indigenously developed and manufactured in India. Prior to EXA, he has spent 7 years with Indion Technologies and Vice President, where he would manage product design and delivery of set-top boxes. I'm sure with his leadership and our knowledge in terms of product design, manufacturing of set-top boxes, he would be able to give us a great amount of inputs in terms of today's conversation. He has pursued MBA, International Business from University of Wales and Bachelor in Computer Application from MKU. We would like him to talk today in terms of design capabilities of a set-top boxes in Indian context and how quality and interportability in production lines is important. So we have all been talking about interportability. So we would like to hear from you today. Joseph, please unmute yourself and share your knowledge with the listeners. Thank you very much for taking time to come. Kindly unmute and speak.
Yeah, thanks, Professor Mishra, and thanks to QCI and the Government of India for this opportunity. Good afternoon to all. I would be speaking about STB in the perspective of R&D and engineering. My experiences goes from starting from designing a black and white TV and getting into set-top boxes. And last 15 years, I'm on the set-top box design and development and the various capacities. I worked with MNCs as well as Indian companies. So I would like to say, thanks to Amit, and I think he has talked about most of the common pain points which we face, and we keep talking and we try to see the solutions for those. So I want to look at it STB as a specifically, it's a complex product compared to many of the electronic products when we consider the kind of price point and the required computing power and memory footprint being used, number of software components get integrated, and the end users are all age groups starting from 2 years. The product pricing will start, today the product prices from $9, start from $9 and above. And it works 24/7, demands high computation power for processing audio and video with a limited memory footprint due to cost constraint. And multiple software get integrated such as CAS, middleware and drivers, and it works with the customized networks. So I would like to bring an analogy today. If we know earlier days, the mobile phone just don't work. People just take the battery and reset back, and everybody was aware of it and nobody has any complaints. But in the case of set-top boxes, it's definitely expected to work 24/7 seamlessly without any interruption. So when it comes to R&D of STB requires to have a continuous technology upgradation and continue to launch new products and keep working towards cost optimization to be competitive in the marketplace. It's a huge investment required to maintain such a facility, and it is only possible if there is a continuous businesses happening. And the second point which I would like to, often asked, do we have a capability to design STBs in India for India or world market? So I myself being a part of 3 multinational designing STBs in the past and 2 Indian companies including EXA, I would say we have enough capability to design, develop and manufacture any complex STBs for Indian and overseas market. Good number of STBs are designed in India by these multinationals and supported worldwide. I would like to reiterate, there is no deficit of knowledge and capability in India. Indian ODMs also developed end-to-end products and deployed across India. From my experience, the products we developed and deployed 10 years back still running strong, although our consideration on while designing was 7 years. And another thing I would like to answer it is India can deliver a quality product. And I believe the quality is in a continuous process, and it starts from the requirement capturing And I believe there are multiple dimensions to quality, such as design quality, input material quality, process quality, manufacturing quality. And Indian companies has a reputation of building best quality products, and we are already serving worldwide requirements for healthcare, defense, and consumer electronics products with the best quality standards. In STB, I can say whatever the STBs we build, and the Indian OEMs have been built, ODMs are built. Last 12 years, our customers are extremely happy, and it runs seamlessly with the minimum failure. The important aspects are taking care of quality in every stage, ensuring that proper manufacturing, test plan, and application implemented in the production, weather test, and all parametric and functional testing, and keep track of it. We have developed test plan and automated and deployed in multiple EMSs, where we have produced STBs, and we ensure design complied with the global DFXs as required. So I don't have any doubt that Indian companies can produce quality product, So another point I want to touch upon is the technical challenge in interoperability in India. I personally believe interoperability of STB is one of the exciting things should happen in India. It allows users to have choice for selecting STB and the service provider. I dream buying an STB from an Amazon with probably 5 tuners and built-in HDD, and it works with any service providers in India. I don't think we give choice to any service providers in India. These kind of products are already being used in Australia, US, and Europe even 15 years back. So we still living with the majority for standard definition products and HD. We are not given any choice to STBs as a decision taken by service providers on behalf of the users, and probably based on what majority wants. When we look at it technically, with the presently established pay TV network in India, it is highly challenging bringing interoperability as no standardization on networks and middleware. Doing interoperability and working coexist with presently deployed STBs will be a nightmare. And we are too late, yet doable with a lot of efforts as a long term. But I still believe it's the right time to have an interoperability or operability for IP and hybrid TVs, as it just started, and its possibilities are unlimited. And it is a more expensive product, and where customer can get more choices as far as the services is concerned. So to summarize this, I believe the present time is a great opportunity, and I would see the following things probably to support the Indian ODMs. First thing, our customers, Indian operators should believe India can deliver, and we request their support. Until otherwise we have a continuous business in volumes, we can never continue to invest in technology and provide best technology. I'm sure everyone will agree all the overseas ODM products never been the same when they delivered on the first product. So it is required continuous improvement in all aspects. Request government to set up performance testing facilities which enable operator and R&D to test the products. Promote component ecosystems by government. Request to government to fund the R&D and promote them, and fund could be a returnable basis or grant which allows to create the India design. This is very important presently to create the strength and to get to more companies to come to the space. Incentivize the buyers to buy India design products. And that's all, and thank you all for listening. And
thanks a lot.
Be successful creating Atmanirbhar Bharat through vocal for local. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Joy. Joy, your name has brought a lot of joy. You could have seen the smile on my face as a consumer activist of the country. What you spoke is from the heart, in terms of you endorse what I firmly believe in, is that we in India have all the capacity and capability, not only on design, but on every aspect of engineering and development. In fact, Indian talents are used overseas, but we are not able to use our own talent at home. So that is what is the focus of your presentation, which was, and I feel so proud that you have again shaken us up to remind us that, we can do it, and only when you give choice. So even your presentation on interoperability has proved that till you don't empower the buyer to choose, you will never be able to provide the best value for money to the end users. So you have to empower the consumers, and which can be done. And even if it is higher price, let there be choice. So people who can afford can buy and promote such industries. So I think, you touched an excellent point. You brought a lot of joy, which is your name. And we feel very happy that you joined and shared your views with us. I go to now next, Mr. G.C. Jain. Mr. Jain has done substantial contribution to India's space program. Sri Jain has worked with very renowned scientists like Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, our former most respected President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, Sri Satish Dhawan, Sri Professor Yashpal. Mr. Jain has worked on the Space Application Center for 16 years. So we are very delighted to have him with us. He was responsible for many key space projects like satellite instrumentation, instrumentational television experiment, Indian National Satellite Communication, Worldwide Monsoon Experiment of the World Meteorological Organization. He has been responsible for R&D activities in video and image processing, communication and broadcasting, and developed many complex technologies which has been used in several national projects and now known and transferred to industries. We would like him to highlight the strength in India in the set-top box manufacturing, expectation from the government vis-a-vis policy and guidelines on the set-top box sector. Mr. Jain, we are very proud to have you with us. Please share your knowledge to the listeners. Thank you. Unmute yourself, please.
Thank you, everybody. And I would like to, in fact, we are for 35 years in the field of electronics manufacturing. For 20 years, more than 20 years, we are in the set-top box field. We started basic set-top boxes in year 2000, R&D. Then we have migrated into assembly of set-top boxes for cable, satellite, and terrestrial applications. We have now a plant to manufacture set-top box under AMSIP for and as we all know that media largely has remained one way so far. So it has been satellite, cable, and terrestrial media. Therefore, we use the set-top boxes like DVB-S, DVB-C, and DVB-T. With the availability and penetration of internet all over the world and more in India and rural areas, there is a big demand and the demand of media over internet. A number of companies have started providing services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Sony Live, Hotstar, G5. Indian cable operators and MSOs have also started diversifying their network to make contents available over their broadband networks. Therefore, networks are being upgraded for broadband and provide the IPTV and OTT services. So now we have set-top boxes not only for one-way services, but we have set-top boxes for two-way services and interactive services, which is OTT and IPTV. In between now we have hybrid boxes because, we have not totally graduated to OTT and IPTV. Therefore, we have combination of satellite and OTT, combination of cable and OTT. However, there is a big shift into OTT and IPTV boxes. During pandemic, it has been realized that communication has become very important and therefore interactivity is the name of the game. And therefore internet set-top boxes have come into play a big role. And now set-top boxes are not merely being used for viewing information, but now for education, for conferencing, meetings, and many applications. So many applications have emerged now. So there is a big challenge for set-top box field and set-top box designer to provide all the facilities to the consumers. Definitely, to manufacture the OTT and IPTV set-top boxes, you need higher grade and higher level of manufacturing setup. And therefore, these are to be upgraded. In fact, we have the manufacturing setup for OTT boxes right from the beginning. And now we are manufacturing the OTT set-top boxes also. Definitely, we need there is a lot of technology which goes into set-top boxes. It is not merely the BIS standards. It is ISO standards for information technology, DVV standards for modulation and communication technology, and now we have internet technology coming into picture, and therefore the skill sets are to be developed to understand first these basics of these technologies. Other than that, of course, we need to develop the skills for production, and therefore we have to really create a very good environment where people, the companies can manufacture with their people the set-top boxes in-house. I would say that we are working under MSIP, and we have worked with the Indian companies, ICAS. We are working with Doordarshan. So we have worked with all types of DTH operators, cable operators, now IPTV operators, and government companies. What we have seen that there is a big need for the government to push Indian manufacturers. We find that we set up we invest heavily into manufacturing, but then business doesn't come. There is no continuity of business. Therefore, we find that for 2 to 3 years, our plant remain idle. And now again, we are looking into diversification of other technologies other than set-top boxes. So there is a big dilemma that we don't have enough customers, we don't have enough productions. Therefore, our efforts are diluted totally. Today, we find that the set-top box manufacturing plant, our set-top box manufacturing plant, which we set up in 2015-16, remain only used for 10% of the capacity. So for 90%, we have to find some other jobs. And this is a pity because, and government is also not providing enough assistance so that, we could really look at other areas. So we do face, Indian manufacturers face a lot of problems because we have invested heavily and we don't have much business. So we feel that the government must give priority to those Indian manufacturers in terms of financial support to stay in this field. Otherwise, once we are discouraged, we will never enter into again. So this is one of my submission that government must look at Indian manufacturers as a priority sector, as a important sector, and provide all necessary assistance. Because we still feel that, several incentives which government promise, they don't come on time. They don't come even. So there are a lot of issues which are there, every time there is a change in their methodology and we don't get the incentives. So with the result, there are difficulties. The other difficulties which we are now facing is the bank financing. Banks are not supporting at all. So this has become a big burden that after pandemic, we see that the banks are not supporting industry. So looking at this, we need government to really take a very early step and necessary steps to help the Indian industry and especially the electronics industry. Because once we are discouraged, we will not enter into again. So this is something important. Presently, we are facing another problem, which is the availability of the chips and the components. We find that chips are mostly manufactured by Taiwan companies or Chinese companies. And their time frame to supply is now something like 8 months. We have taken orders, but we can't fulfill those orders. So unless somewhere some mechanism is there to get the chipsets, because the heart of the set-top box is a chipset.
You have to conclude now, Mr. Jain.
We can't manufacture.
You have to conclude, Mr. Jain.
Yeah, so I would say that a lot of government support is required in terms of R&D, in terms of design, in terms of supporting the manufacturers for set-top boxes. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Jain. I profusely thank you because you have brought in focus the dichotomy which is existing. The government wants to support, but the industry feels government is not supporting. And this is where we need to build that bridge, that why it is happening. There's not a single bank whom I visit, at least the bank manager is pleading that bring good proposals where we would be more than happy to support, but they're not getting good viable propositions. Now you yourself confessed that only 10% utilization, which means there's a huge amount of work you all need to do to make sure that the unutilized capacity is utilized not only in the domestic market but also globally. So there is a lot of challenge. I completely agree with you. We need to build that bridge. Where is it that it is actually pinching, so that you all can get those resources which the government is allocating year after year to support you, people like you all in the MSME and in the small scale sector. So we need to build that bridge. And I'm very happy that you raised these issues, because I'm sure with this Manthan, a good recommendation will go where we can tell the government how to make it transparent, accountable, and all resources of taxpayers' money well utilized for the purpose it has been allocated for. So I'm sure, we will all put it in the recommendation to find out a solution to this. Thank you very much. I would now like to call upon, Mr. V. Srinivasan Desikan. Mr. Desikan is Director and Business Head of UL India in South Asia. Mr. Desikan, he also is a mechanical engineer with a business administration qualification from IIM Bangalore, and has to his credit more than 25 years of wide-ranging industrial experience. He has a wide-ranging kind of a career and in various areas like automobile, ancillaries, healthcare, medical devices, packaging, testing, inspection, certification. I am sure he will talk to us today on several policy changes and standards in the standards and implementation, and bring in the aspect of global best practices which is required in set-top box manufacturing in India, so that we can utilize the unutilized capacity of the manufacturers which are lying idle in our country. So Mr. Desikan, please unmute and share us with your knowledge so that the industry can learn from your intervention today.
Thank you, Professor Mishra, and good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thanks for the opportunity to QCI to speak, for us to speak in Udyog Manthan, and thank Professor Mishra for moderating this very wonderfully. I represent UL, the parent company being Underwriters Laboratories, which is a 127-year-old company working on a mission to make the world a safer place. and we are engaged in safety, security, and sustainability in a variety of industries in the world, partnering with a variety of customers in developing standards and providing testing, inspection, certification services for all these industries around the world. My esteemed colleagues have spoken well about the market for set-top boxes, the design, the manufacturing, etc. Very well said. A lot of points have come through. And I come here with another perspective in the field of electronics and set-top boxes in particular. With the digitization of the entire system, and which is also being recently mandated by TRI, it's a clear path forward that the needs of set-top boxes is gaining significant momentum. And of course, we have many of my colleagues have spoken about the new platforms of OTT, IP inclusion, etc. They become more. The other perspective is they become more vulnerable to safety and security compromises in the long run, if not addressed well from a global perspective. Right, and even as Madam Asha Langia and Professor James Chen also mentioned in the beginning, the need for innovation also becomes very critical in these areas. The other speakers also spoke about STBs becoming multifunctional. So it is not just going to be only transmitting TV programs, right? So they're going to become multifunctional with all the IP functions coming in. The need to not only maintain safety, but also maintain security, reliability, sustainability, and performance is very important. And the need to gear up all this also become non-negotiable. Now, let's look at how this is being addressed in today's context. And let's also look at what is it that we have to do going forward. Today, what is mandated in the country is only the safety certification through the BISCRS program, where a standard called IS 13252 is followed. And in today's context, we've got about more than 240 registered manufacturers or products that are registered under this program. Now, what we need to have is to have a comprehensive set of technical requirements. Now, I call it standards because it can be standards, it can be technical requirements, depending upon the type that we are going to address and approach. And these technical requirements not only include safety, as mentioned earlier, it also should include the other areas like, say, the electromagnetic compatibility, EMC requirements of the product, or the wireless capability of the product, or even the RF certifications, or cybersecurity. When it becomes IP enabled, then cybersecurity and the related aspects also become very important. Our colleagues spoke about interoperability of the products and the way that they can do multi-functionalities. Now, companies like UL have the required global knowledge and experience and the necessary technical expertise in terms of developing standards and technical requirements, capabilities available in India to make them globally competitive and globally superior, right? So the global market beyond India is certainly looking at a variety of these requirements. Go to Europe, go to North America, or any other country in the world. The global requirements are becoming more and more clear and stringent. And we need to have these capabilities available in India to develop and nurture these standards, which can be adapted globally with any country that the manufacturers want to get into, and make our products competitive in the global market. Standards and regulations need to be established not only for testing and certifying these products, but also to establish a well-rounded surveillance mechanism, because it is not just a one-time certification that we have to do. The products have to be meeting those requirements of performance, of quality, of safety, sustainability, etc. on an ongoing basis. So we should establish a mechanism, and we are companies like you all. There are other agencies as well. Companies like you all are ready to partner with Government of India, which we have done in the past. Past several years. That would to establish a mechanism that would ensure consistency of quality and other parameters. So this is it. It is a very dire need at this point of time when we are moving from a stage like our friend Amit Karbanda said, what it was 20 years back versus what it is today, from where we started to where we are. Now we are looking at going to the next plane of action, right, from where we are to where we need to go, from the Indian market to the global market. Avoid getting these products only on imports and make our products more export compatible, export worthy for the global market access. So the importance here is to bring in this need for standards, regulations, and technical requirements that would help address these products in a variety of ways to ensure that the final consumer gets the best product wherever they are in the world. So finally, to conclude my point and summarize, I would once again reiterate the need for standards and regulations to make our set-top boxes globally sought after, and hence ensure the dream of our Honorable Prime Minister, Atmanirbhar Bharat, come true now and forever. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Mr. Desikan. In fact, I only wish and desire that organizations like yours are made accessible to the manufacturers of our country, because it is very important to understand that while we have the talents, we should be able to afford it also. So how we can, engage with organizations like ours in an effective manner, in a productive way, is the way forward, in my view, and we should use it to our biggest capacity. We have a very interesting speaker now, who is Mr. Ankan Biswas. He has a great amount of experience in terms of interportability and conditional access to set-top boxes. He's an electronic engineer and BTech from IIT Kharagpur and ME Automation from the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. He has over 30 years of experience working with Philips at various locations of Philips, and has a great amount of insight into this area of set-top boxes, broadcasting systems, access. And he has also worked as a consultant with our regulator, that is the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, in terms of interportability of set-top boxes. And he's also worked with CDAC as a consultant for a number of projects. So I am sure, he will touch on issues not only in terms of policies which are required, but how we should go ahead with interportability and conditional access of STBs on a fast-track mode in our country. So, Mr. Ankan Biswas, the mic is yours. Please unmute and speak.
Thank you, Professor Mishra, for kind words. And thanks to GCI for giving me the chance to talk. Where I'm representing now. I'm the head for the broadcast group in ISA. Now, we are going back to a lot of discussions that happened already. I would like to touch upon a few things. I remember in 2012, a similar seminar, of course it was physical then, was done by ISA, along with Qatar. And we are trying to find out the best opportunity that India has on electronics. And lo and behold, which was that was set-top boxes. And it was analyzed at that point of time that one of the problems that Indian manufacturers had, that there is a software which is conditional access. Not much has been discussed in this, but one should remember that conditional access is the key for set-top boxes. A set-top box today is deployed by the operator for delivering the service. He wants to keep it to himself. And that is what conditional access does. But without going into the detail of that software was not available from Indian sources then. It was all imported. So all set-top boxes, there used to be $4 to $8 used to go. Now you can do a calculation, 180 million into $8 means how much? So government of India said that not only will make it, but we make the license fee $0.5, 50 cents. And everybody said that it is impossible, these big players took 10 years to do this, and already because this has started, it will be too late. What happened? Government said, and I know it because I was leading the project, that we have 1 year. And it has to be not a government company, but it's a private company, because private company only knows how to do business. They have to be leaders in show. And it was done in 1 year, within the time period and within the budget. Now that is not the big thing. The big thing was the importance that it had in the market. All these big cash players had to bring down their prices from $8.5 to $8 to match near about the Indian iCash prices. And today, we already have there is 23 to 25 million boxes, 25 large boxes, and there was 350 cable operators treated. Of course, the big ones could not because they already the time was lost. But the lesson that we have learned there, that if we want, we can do it. It's India, the brain power is there, only thing, all the things have to come together. Now, without going through it much further, I would say there is another thing which is connected with the conditional access. Now, what is conditional? Who chooses the conditional access? It is chosen by the operator. And he chooses the conditional access so that not the setup manufacturer has to make it as per his design. Yes, the software design is controlled by him. Middleware will be controlled in a way of its APIs. But as a customer is, how? Because if a customer wants to change, he has to change the box totally, because one box which is made for a particular operator is not made, it's not compatible with another. So, you are right. For a long time, I have been trying to bring in interoperability. Now, they have guys trials, they have taken everybody together, have number of open houses, meetings, and also they have put in, I see the smiles on your face, but yes, nobody will agree to a point. So here I say, okay, we make it proprietary one, and for that they spent 3 years and made a proprietary one made by CDOC. But that was not acceptable because it will be again a new proprietary. Then they have, at that point of time, after about 3 years down the line, then they change the cost and they say, okay, we'll see all the available technical way that it is possible. One was downloadable cache, it was shown, but downloadable cache has some limitation, but the technology has. The second thing that they have said, okay, then let's do is embedded conditional CI. So that all the new technologies, we are talking about OTT, IPTV, everything will come onto the box and operate. It will not be physical, but it will through the software. Then the people say, no, it is not possible because it is too advanced. And India has not gone into that. Ultimately, we have to choose one which is not too advanced and which is not very technology which is called DVD-CI Class 2.0, which is an international, the accepted one, has been tested in Europe and other places, and it has recommended that to MIT that all the set-top boxes in DTH has to be compatible with that, All of the set-top boxes in theory has to be compatible with that. And not only that, TVs also will have a built-in capability so that it can take any service either from cable or from meetings just by using a USB. Now this is now working with reliably for last 1 year. We can talk about COVID, but that's not it. All the stakeholders are, I understand that conditional access companies will object to this because it is their business. Operating is good, but even the set-top box manufacturers and others are objecting. Only who have not objected is the version. And that means that we want to keep the status quo. Because status quo, as it says, is actually a compromise of all of them at the present moment. So you can take it. But the point is, we have to push through, and everybody has to come to the table so that it becomes open for. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Last but not the least, we have with us Mr. Rishi Surya Puri, who is an experienced professional with 29 years of experience as an hotel executive, being the general manager, vice president, senior vice president, with a very proven kind of track record with brands like Carlson, Holiday Inn, Sheraton, and many others. He is specialized in the management of large convention hotels and star-rated resorts and hotels. He has a lot of success stories, and why I said last but not the least is because he brings in a lot of experience as a buyer of set-top boxes, being in the hotel industry, which actually purchases a number of set-top boxes in the country. And I'm sure with his insight, we'll be able to understand how the hospitality and the end user's perspective can be brought in, which is very, very important, because I'm also part of that cluster. And diligent management of multiple use of set-top boxes in the hospitality industry. I'm sure the listeners will find his presentation extremely interesting. Mr. Rishi Surya Puri, the mic is yours. Please unmute and speak.
Thank you, Professor Mishra. Namaskar, everyone, to all the listeners, parts of the country and international. Thank you. So nice of you to have introduced. I come from a typical mid-market hospitality company, Hotels, which owns and operates close to about 40 hotels and in Nepal as well. As on date, I'm a bulk consumer with about 2,800. Obviously,
Rishi sir, sorry to interrupt. You kindly be more closer to the mic so that we can hear you properly. You are not audible.
Okay, is this any better now, Sivesh?
Yes, this is definitely better. Thank you, sir. Continue.
Okay. So that's where the technology glitch is, I think. So thank you, Sivesh, for pointing it out. And that's a part of my discussion as well. And I said, thank you, Professor Mishra, for introducing me. And I come from a hospitality space where we are bulk consumers of STBs all over. Not only in my 40 hotels that we own and operate, but otherwise also. Today, India, all the hotels that you would travel to, you would find that little piece out there. I wish, and I really wish, that that piece could have been multifunctional and could have been used for multiple things, and such lovely co-panelists who were speaking, I am completely wowed at most of the experiences that came in. But I will not get into the technology part of it. I would get into more of a bulk user prospect of it. Hotel rooms in India, as per the report last that they had gathered in 2018, 0.54 million. And I'm coming from that perspective. To me, a set-top box, thank you for all the technical information, which even I did not have, to be honest. But to me, this set-top box should be a box which should be one box solves all. That should be an agenda probably going forward. Today, we have one box in the room, for which we have to create space to keep it, to store it, and to ensure that it's well connected to its remote operation. And then we have another box for getting the internet in, and then we have another box for security and other such things. My take is that why can't we have everything put into one box where TV, internet, music, security, Bluetooth connectivity to this, and other such AI platforms like Alexa and all could be used from one simple box itself. For hospitality, obviously, a lot of my colleagues co-panelists have already spoken about focus on quality, service, and support. These are areas of concern. And as a major consumer, they become all the more important for us as far as support is concerned. Interoperability, many of us have spoken on that. That remains to be a glitch for hospitality sector especially. Because once we get married to a particular operator, then we are stuck with it for many, many years. Otherwise, we run the risk of reinvesting on, let's say, a 100-room hotel and 100 set-top boxes yet again. So that becomes a major glitch where we are not able to transfer our services from a A to a B. Now, I understand that this is all about STBs, but I will also like to speak from a broadcaster's perspective. That in hotels, and even in my home, I have 3 different set-top boxes, and even in hotels when we were going through the pandemic, hotels were not functional. They were doing 20% occupancies. They slowly started crawling towards 25 and then 30 and 40. We were never sure of what the occupancies would be like. But we had to keep all of them charged more from a broadcaster's perspective, like I said, because we really did not know that when the guest would come in and when he would require services. I understand they can be disconnected and you pay as you move along, but in hotels, that does not really become possible. Maybe some looking at these areas can be considered by everybody, and this will really help the efficiencies in hotels. Internationally, most of the hotels that I have traveled to have a basic list. Again, this is broadcaster's perspective, but I will cover it up. That most of the hotels have a very basic channel list that is provided to you. The rest all is for a guest to probably pay on his card and pay per use, and obviously he can choose the language, he can choose what he would like to see, and he can choose it for one show, or if he wants one day, or if he's going to be staying for 7 to 10 days, he can choose that as well. So these charges should be genuine and normal. Like Mr. Jain, my co-panelist, said that if that is the case, then more and more STBs would be used, else will be forced to change because of the new technology coming in, and investors will not have to look at other businesses like what he mentioned. My co-speaker, Mr. Kharbanda, also spoke about the cost of boxes initially now. But hotels do not have to only invest. This is something that possibly a lot of other people may not have touched upon. But hotels do not have to only invest in a set-top box. We also pay for the operator, like all of us do. And then if we are displaying this in our coffee shops and in our restaurants, or if you have an IPL match screening happening, we end up paying companies for their transmission rights also. Companies like IPRS, Performing Rights Society, and performance licenses need to be taken if we are displaying that. So the overall scenario, it becomes a very expensive proposition for us. So I'm not going to get into government bashing because that's the easiest thing that can be done. But as manufacturers, I see a lot of people who have ample experience here. We understand that today's day and age, it is all about touchless technology that we are talking about, and AI. And a consumer has possibly everything lined up on his phone, watching that series on the flight and then move to the hotel. So if that can be integrated straight to the set-top box, the phone, he can see whatever he wants from his phone. They not pay to any operator because he has already paid for it. So that's my take on it, and I'm sure what I saw, the numbers, the set-top box industry market size was valued at $20.2 billion in 2019 and expected to grow at 7 CAG, compound annual growth. Increasing demand for OTT platforms would definitely propel from Amazon Prime and Hulu's and Netflix. And this would definitely have a very positive market sentiment in
हो गया
Okay.
Sorry, please continue. Please continue. Somebody asked in.
I understand that some panelists was pondering about how do we grow the demand for them. See, the growth will not only come from the existing users. Obviously, he did point out that there are so many households which still do not have the STBs. A, it would come from there. And B, it would come from new technologies that come in and the existing users being forced by choice to upgrade themselves into technology. I understand we all upgrade our phones, we all upgrade everything, but my set-top box in my house has been sitting there for the last 7 years and I have not had the need to change. Because there's nothing new or disruptive that has come in. I'm sure the pandemic has taught all the industries to be disruptive about their technology. So that's my take on the situation. And obviously, we have touched upon things like IPTV and how that can help us. And it would be the latest trend in the broadcasting for entertainment, news. So hotels would move to that as well. So those are some of my takes. And interoperability would be a major challenge and is a major challenge as of now for the hospitality. Thank you so much, Professor.
Thanks a lot.
For giving me the opportunity.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Rishi. In fact, you have again endorsed what the consumers want in our country because you represent them in large number and you are one of the decision-making authority on behalf of the consumers when we visit hotels. So, I fully endorse what you said. I want to again take this opportunity to thank all the panel members for bringing in great insights into what we should move and how we should move forward. I would like to request again, our very esteemed, member of this panel who's coming from the government, and Ashaji. Ashaji, I would like to again request you to give some short, kind of reaction to what you heard. And I'm so happy that you were there throughout. With all your busy schedule, you took time away to listen to everybody. And that's a great motivation to all of us. Let me tell you that. And Ashaji, please give some closing remarks.
Thank you, Professor Mishra, for giving me this opportunity. First of all, I would like to thank all the participants and the stakeholders for sharing their vast experience in the area of set-top boxes. We heard the journey of the set-top boxes, how they are evolving, and what was there in the 20 years ago, and how they are growing up with the OTT set-top boxes, and what are the challenges that are being faced by the industry in terms of the free trade agreements or the consumer's choice, and what should be done in the to promote manufacturing in the country and with the latest technologies. One of the speakers have told about the 4 M's, that is men, machine, material, and methods that we have to follow to promote manufacturing in the country. The need for doing automation and the use of AIs to promote manufacturing and build quality into the productions. We also heard that, yes, everybody agrees that we have a capacity, we have the talent, and we have the capability also to produce the set-top boxes, not only for the country, but for the exports also. Only the thing is, we have to align our efforts in this direction. The industry and the government has to work hand in hand so that we can achieve these targets. Someone mentioned about the need of the standards or the technical requirements for the set-top boxes that have to be raised. Even I endorse that, yes, there is a need for the standards, which should be harmonized to the international standards. And if possible, we should raise our standards well above the international standards. They should not only focus on the performance, safety, security, but also for the whole trusted electronics value chain, and the process certification and the system certifications also. So we also heard that, yes, consumer is the king. So the end of the day, we are producing everything for the consumers. So if the consumer is happy, they will buy the products that are being produced. So we should build excellence into our productivity all the products that we produce so that we satisfy our consumers. Yes, the industry is facing also some challenges like somebody told that in terms of the bank financing, the free trade agreements. So I think the industry is well aware that the government is already working on those issues. We would try to support the industry to the best extent. And in fact, these all recommendations that have come up from the brainstorming session of this Udyog Manthan series will definitely help the domestic industry to grow. Thank you, Professor Mishra. And before I thank, I would like to thank QCI and the CIA to give me this opportunity, for giving me this opportunity to be a part of this brainstorming session. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. You have actually summarized it in a very beautiful way, and you have brought in, made things easier for Sarvesh now to conclude. Sarvesh, the mic is yours. I have tried my best to give it to you at 1 o'clock to close. And here you are. The mic is yours. Please unmute and speak.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor Mishra, for stating the derivation so well and summarizing the discussions articulately. I would like to thank and extend our gratitude to Ms. Asha Anantia, Senior Director in Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, for gracing this event with her presence and setting up the context for the session. I would also like to thank the illustrious panelists for deliberating on the issues of quality and productivity in this industry. I request all the experts to spare some time and provide recommendations and suggestions and templates share with you, as this would help us in creating a compendium of quality-related sectoral recommendations which will be shared with the ministry. Furthermore, I would like to thank all the attendees for being such a fantastic audience. I also request now the speakers to just switch on their camera so that we can have a quick screen capture of this session. And I would request my colleague, Dr. Arul, to let me know when the screen capture is done. All are requested to please switch on their cameras. Is it done, Dr. Arul?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Arul. So thank you so much once again. Here I conclude the session. Goodbye and have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you all. Bye-bye. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, Bijan sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Bijan sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor James, for coming all the way from Taiwan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Bijan. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
आ गया था वीडियो आ गया वीडियो आ गया recorded. boxes, being in the hotel industry.
Increasing demand for OTT platforms would definitely propel from Amazon Prime and Hulu's and Netflix, and this would definitely have a very positive market sentiment in. Okay.
Aims, that is men, machine, material and methods that we have to follow to promote manufacturing in the country. The need for doing automation
so well and summarizing the discussions articulately. I would like to thank and extend our gratitude to Ms. Asha Anantia, Senior Director in Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, for gracing this event with her presence and setting up the context for the session. I would also like to thank the illustrious panelists for deliberating on the issues of quality and productivity in this industry. I request all the experts to spare some time and provide recommendations and suggestions and templates share with you, as this would help us in creating a compendium of quality-related sectoral recommendations which will be shared with the ministry. Furthermore, I would like to thank all the attendees for being such a fantastic audience. I also request now the speakers to just switch on their camera so that we can have a quick screen capture of this session. And I would request my colleague, Dr. Arul, to let me know when the screen capture is done. All are requested to please switch on their cameras. We recording? Switch on their camera so that we can have a quick screen capture of this session.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.